Thank you to DistroKid for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. So I haven't made trap in a while, so let's see what we can come up with. Okay, so first things first, let's set our tempo. Let's see. Might be a little too fast. Let's try like 142. That sounds good. Okay, so let's actually start out with the drums, kind of get those out of the way. So let me start off with a clap. Open up this event here, using my macro toolbar here, link down below. I'm gonna go over to snares and claps. I'm using impact for this, and then clap on 3. Perfect. From there, let's go over to the hi-hat. And from here, we're gonna do the same thing. Hats. I'm using sample 1 for this, 8th notes. And then let's go over to the kick real quick. And then here, you can program one on the first measure. On the third measure, we could do maybe one like here and here. Boom, boom. Maybe here and here. That's good enough. So far we have a pretty solid, pretty basic drum pattern. Check it out. Now this sounds okay, but we need some way to spice it up. Now the first way that I can think of is to start adding some variations, some rolls to the hi-hat. Now you can go in here and add those in manually in the piano roll, but what I like to do sometimes is I like to bring in some sort of hi-hat loop that already has some rolls, preferably one that has a slightly different texture, and then only leave the rolls and kind of sprinkle them in to add a little bit of variety. So let me go into Splice real quick and let me see what I can find. Okay, so I found this loop on Splice, and I'm gonna call this hat rolls. But basically I took all of the roll segments, took out the rest, and sprinkled them in. So far we have this. So what I want to do now, just to kind of add a little bit more bounce, is introduce a snare as kind of like an accent hit throughout this little loop. So let's see what we can come up with. Okay, so I got some snares programmed here, and I also lowered the velocity down to 50 just to kind of make them a little bit more subtle. But so far, the drums are sounding like this. Perfect. So from here, let's move on up now to the chord progression. I'm gonna make this super, super simple. I'm gonna be using my new plugin here called Captain Chords. But what I'm gonna do here is let's pick a scale. I'm gonna do, we could do E flat minor, and then let's do like a 4 chord progression. And let's see, let's start with the first. We could do like a, what's a good trap progression, dark progression. We could do like a 1, 5, 6, 4. Let's try that. So 1, 5, 6, and 4. Hey. That works for me. So I'm going to bring this MIDI over to, and just bring it to any other instrument here. I can always swap it around. But let's bring that in here. And then what I'm going to do is, let me look for a patch here real quick just to see what fits the vibe. Okay, so I found this piano on Nexus. Very dreamy, ethereal-esque. Sounds like this. Okay, so from here we can probably add a bass line. So what I'm going to do here is, let me bring this down to this 808 that I already have programmed. That's in my template. And all we're going to do is we're going to take the root note of that chord. So if you go back up to Captain Chords here, you can see that we need to have an E flat for the first chord. So we can remove these first two. A D sharp is the same thing as an E flat. For the next one, we need to have a B flat. This is our second chord. So a B flat is going to be the same thing as an A sharp. Moving on, we need to have, let's see here, a C flat is the root. C flat is the same thing as a B natural, so you leave that there. And then last but not least, we need to have an A flat. So an A flat is going to be the same thing as a G sharp. And this is going to be our progression here for the bass. This could probably use a little bit of oomph. So let's bring in a little sausage fattener. Okay, so I think the last big element here that we need to have is some sort of melody, but I don't want to overdo it. I'm thinking of maybe adding some sort of pluck and playing the root and then switching that second note. So it could be something like something along those lines. Let me see what I can come up here. I had two different patterns. I think I like that second one a little bit better. So I'm going to keep this here. And let's just go ahead and, because it's strapped, let's just quantize it to the grid perfectly. Duplicate this. And I think this is pretty much the chunk of the main part of the beat. Woo! Fire. Okay, so you guys know how this goes. I usually make the main part of the beat, which is usually the chorus, and then I, from there, add finishing touches and then arrange the beat. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. But before I do that, if you're also a producer who wants to release your music out to a bigger audience, then I want to tell you really quickly about today's video sponsor, DistroKid. DistroKid is a digital music distributor and the one that I've been using for quite some time now, not only for my clients, but also to release my own beats to places like Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, Snapchat, and so many more. I love DistroKid for so many reasons, but one of my favorite things about them is that they're constantly adding new features to your subscription to help you promote your music and yourself as an artist. So for example, we've always had a thing called Hyperfollow, which is basically a landing page for your music to make it really simple for people to find your work, but also to follow you on social media. Well, what they've recently done is created a version of this, but for you, the artist, to make it really simple for people to connect with you. So instead of having something like a LinkedIn tree or a link in bio, if you're already a subscriber to DistroKid, you get this completely for free. This is just one of the many features that come included with your subscription. So if you're ready to spread your music out to more people, then consider signing up for DistroKid with my link down below in the description and get 7% off your first year. Okay, so I have the beat fully arranged. Let's take a look and see what I did. Now, first things first, I do this all the time, but I'll go ahead and I produce and I'll set the vibe and I'll create all the elements that I need to. But at the very end, sometimes, if need be, I do switch some of the sounds around to get the right vibe. Now, that is exactly what I did here. I did change some of these sounds that I initially had programmed to different keys, to, you know, I added a pad here at the bottom, as you can see. And then I also added a couple of melodies, primarily this stab melody that we had already recorded, but also a little counter melody. And I stacked that up with two different versions for the chorus, and I only left one for the verse. So let's go through the arrangement real quick. Now, the intro is just the stabs, and then the keys that I did switch up to a wider kind of sound, and then the pad. The chorus has everything as usual, and then in the verse, we take out the counter melody that I created. That second melody, I left it in there, but I added a little bit of a delay just to kind of make it sound a little bit different. For that second half of the verse, I took out the kick, I took out that snare, and then transitioning into the chorus, I also took out some of those hi-hats and I added a little transition here. Now, this is something that I'm really excited about. It's so simple, but it's so fun. So I took a crash, which is, you can see it here. I reversed it to create a riser, but then I chopped it up right at the end. And on that chop, I added a little transcate. So now the riser, which sounded like this originally, once you add in that little transcate, it sounds like this. Super tiny detail, but it adds a bunch to the overall mix. So here is the full beat. I hope you enjoy. that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this beat down below in the comments. Drop a like if you liked this video. And as always, thank you for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.